Good morning and welcome to another 30 Minutes with Jan. And yesterday saw some significant changes in the new laws and regulations with immigration going forward. But as I am not an immigration advisor, I'm a financial advisor. I've brought Vanita on this morning. Vanita, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Jan. I'm good. I'm good. Good morning, everybody, or good evening, wherever you are. So, hope you guys are doing well.
I can promise you this morning, I haven't got the faintest idea. I didn't listen to what the radio said. I didn't listen to what the news said. I just know New Zealand is opening sooner. Is that right?
Yes, it is correct. Yes, from the 1st of August is pretty much when New Zealand is opening up to the world,
Okay.
and
And
that
then
will be
everybody can
visitors.
come in.
Pretty much, yes.
Okay.
I don't know about testing and COVID testing and so on. You probably need to check with the border on that because that changes constantly. And I think there's pressure around why are we still doing RAT tests or PCR tests when everybody else is not doing those. So yeah. But I suppose check on those sorts of things. But yes, yesterday was some major changes, some clarity as to what is going to happen moving forward on the immigration front. Pretty much also spelling out who will definitely get residence and so on. So that's quite important, I suppose, especially for your occupation, where you are, and your plans to immigrate. That's pretty much where that is.
Your honest opinion, is it easier or more difficult?
More difficult, definitely more
Oh,
difficult, Jan.
different. Okay.
And it is selecting, as I always said, the cream of the crop, the highly skilled, and so on. But what I'll do is I'll go through the timeline of what to expect, and we can sort of go through the bits and pieces as well. And
Okay.
then as we get questions, we can sort of answer those questions as
Mm,
they come through, if that's
no,
okay.
that's good.
All
So
right.
that's fine with you if we drag questions in between now.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'll try my best to answer them and so on, but I'll just give you an update of exactly what's going on. I will make a disclaimer that some of these announcements have been at very high level, and the details of this will come out further. And if I make a mistake and say something that may be wrong, I'm already making a disclaimer. So please check with your advisor or the immigration website of exactly what those are. Okay.
Yeah.
So from the 11th of May, which is today, the post-study work visa settings change. Now, with the post-study work visa, this is people pretty much studying degree level courses and above, like the
Okay.
honors, the PhD, and so on. So those settings change in the sense that anybody studying degree level and above will have post-study work rights. So they'd be able to still work the 20 hours a week and so on. But they need to be sort of in courses for full time, and that's 30 weeks, or more
Okay.
for the courses. Now, anybody studying a level 7 or below, now usually you get the diploma that may be at a level 7 or below, and this is pretty much excluding those degrees. Those people will only have work rights if they are working in this occupational green list. Now, before, post-study or open work rights for students pretty much meant they could work anywhere. That is no longer the case. So we've been very specific. Now, this green list came out yesterday, all right? And the green list is pretty much saying that if you are on this list, there's two tiers to it. If you are on tier 1, you're guaranteed a pathway to residence from the 30th or from September onwards, sorry, not 30th, from September onwards. If you're on tier 2, then you're possibly looking at working for 2 years before you guaranteed residence. It's almost like that work to residence sort
Yeah.
of category. But I'll sort of come down to that as we go through. The next timeline is the 4th of July. That's when the accredited employer work visas open. All right, so that's when you can apply for accredited employer work visas.
So by then the employers need to be accredited by the
That's
workplace.
right, yes.
Okay.
So the next timeline is by the 31st of July, the 2021 one-off residence closes, and we will see the first lot of the accredited employer work visas being granted at that time. So that's the anticipation of how long they're planning to process and go through from there. 1st of August is when the border reopens to the rest of the world and reconnecting everybody. And that's when you pretty much can apply for your visitor visas and so on. Now, they're anticipating about 20 working days to process this. So that's what you're sort of looking at for the visitor visas and so on to be processed and to be able to come. Now, also, Jan, I don't know, and obviously more information will come out about this, because just remember the visa application centers need to start opening as well. Now, if you remember, Pretoria closed, like pretty much the whole world, they closed, for verification of passports. Now, we'll obviously be looking at more announcements to come through as time goes on as to what VACs are going to open and so on, so that people can start getting their passports and so on verified to be able to travel to New Zealand. Okay. So we'll wait for that on that side of things. Now, from September, this is when immigration said is when you would be able to apply for residence on a fast track system. Now, this is for the people on the green list, okay, or anybody paid twice the median wage. Now, again, we're looking for clarification on how this will happen, who will be eligible, how that will go through, and that hasn't been announced as yet. And these are guaranteed pathways to residence. So we know that certain occupations, like for instance, civil engineers, there's a whole list of occupations on there. You've got teachers and so on, but they've been very specific about teachers. Like for instance, it's only early childhood educators and secondary school teachers, but they need to be in certain teaching in certain subjects like math, math, science, and technology. So it's very, very specific as to who are able to come in.
I don't want the difficult subjects to come in, actually.
That's right, and I suppose that's where they're actually moving toward. And if you know, like what's happening in the media, they say that our math and all those programs have decreased and so on. So I suppose they're encouraging those sorts of areas to be, growth areas on that side.
There's questions already, but I'm going to leave them until just a little bit later. I think you're going to answer some of these questions already.
Hopefully, I'll be able to answer some of those questions. So, from the 1st of December, and this is quite important, people probably need to make note of this. Sorry, not from the 1st of December, from December 2022, we're not too sure exactly the date, possibly maybe the end of the month. Most partners will be granted visitor visas. They won't be granted open work rights like the way we currently have.
Okay.
And that's a big one, because if your main applicant is not on the green list or not earning 200% of median wage, and the median wage on the 4th of July is going to be $27.76 per hour. Okay, so twice the median wage is about $116,000. Okay, so if your partner's job is not on the green list, not your partner, the main applicant is not on the green list, or not earning 200% of median wage, the partner is going to be granted a visitor visa with no work rights. If they want work rights, they will need to get an accredited employer work visa in their own right. So that's a major.
Okay,
but that's a major.
Will they then also have to conform to the rules and regulations? Let's say the green list, or they won't be any easier than
no.
They are here now.
No, nothing. Okay, so they will have to meet all the criteria of that to be able to, for an accredited employer work visa. So they'll be needing to earn the median wage is $27.76 per hour. The employers will need to advertise, show that they can't employ anybody to be able to give these partners work. So that's a big one. And then during 2023, now this is the thing is during, we don't have timelines on that. All employers will need to be accredited. And this is employers that are employing people with open work rights. They don't mention about partners that usually have open work rights. But they talk about students with open work rights, and they talk about working holiday visa holders with open work rights. So that's putting a lot of pressure on employers next year to become accredited if they are grabbing people with open work rights. And obviously more information will come through on that. So that's the major timelines we are looking at,
So you
right?
basically can have two people in New Zealand, but only one working. That can also severely impact the finances of people down there.
That's right. Yes, yes.
So,
Children or dependent children will still be able to get student visas to be going in and studying at a primary school and high school, but not
yeah,
tertiary. Okay, so that's a major impact. So I think for a lot of people, you really need to work out where you are, where you stand with your occupation,
yeah.
work out your finances and what your partner can and cannot do. Right. So an interesting one is some of the trades are on the green list as well. That's your diesel mechanics, your electricians, your plumbers, your auto electricians.
So
Those are on
a diesel mechanic on the green list, is that on a tier one or tier two?
tier two. So
Okay.
that means that, like, usually the trades don't earn 116,000. You'd be very lucky to be earning that sort of money. Okay. So that means that these people on that tier two, if they're not earning the 200% of median wage, they would have to wait 2 years and then apply for residence. But this is a direct pathway to residence. So, after 2 years, you're guaranteed residence, regardless of what you're earning, but you need to be earning above median wage
All
or
right.
median wage and above.
And they partners on tier two on the green list, can the partner work or
If they're
only
on the
list?
green list, yes, the partner will be granted open work rights. Okay. If they're not on the green list and they're not earning 200% of median wage, they won't be able to get residence. Now, the thing is, right now, we talk about green lists and residence. The skilled migrant category is yet to be that's a point tested system, is yet to be reviewed and yet to be opened. They are talking about opening that later on this year, so we don't have a timeline of when that's going to happen. So you can still get residence on the points tested system, but we don't know what that's going to look like.
Okay.
So
So
that's the other
even
thing.
somebody who's not on the green list can still come under certain other conditions that will be later announced.
Yes. So pretty much like anybody can come in if they're able to get, meet the criteria of the accredited employer work visa. The criteria of that, they can come in. It's just that we don't know what that pathway is for them. If they're earning 200% of median wage, yes, they can work 2 years and get residence. If
Yeah.
they're earning at median wage, or say $30 an hour, that will be under the skilled migrant category, points tested, but we don't know what that criteria is going to be for residents. So it's a bit of an unknown for those people that are going to be coming in that are not on the green list.
All right. I've got a burning question inside of me, and it's been
Okay.
something we've been talking many months about already. So I don't hope I'm jumping the gun here.
Yeah.
Has the minimum age of 55 been set back to 45?
No. So that's interesting because
Okay.
they mention 55 years or younger, all right, for the green list. And this is a tier one and tier two, all right.
Okay.
And they said that will be in line with the skilled migrant category, which is still currently set at 55. So that's an interesting thing that they haven't changed it. But you know what? They could later on, and we don't know, because they made a clear statement saying that this green list is in line with SMC of the age of 55 or younger.
Okay.
So, and just remember, SMC is still being under review and will open sometime towards the end of the year or later on in the year.
That's quite interesting. I was quite under the impression they're going to do 45 as, I mean, everything else, KiwiSaver and
So,
everything else changed today.
so was I, Jan, and I've sort of been saying that because the superannuation and so on have
Yeah, for
changed.
sure, yeah.
The thing is, and this is my opinion, okay, is this is, and looking at the way they do it in Australia as well, when that skilled migrant category opens, I mean, we know right now it's sitting at 160 points, it's at 55, age and so on. The thing is that right now, the way the pool used to work previously to it closing is it was always a draw every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Now, my feeling is that that draw may change to an ad hoc basis. So that could be every 3 months, every 5 months. It doesn't stop immigration as well from choosing only certain occupations from that pool that will be in there
Yeah.
and say, okay, these occupations will go through now for, be invited to apply for residence. It doesn't, pretty much they could say, okay, say the points are set at 160, but we're only going to draw the 200, the people that are meeting 200 points, you know. So there's so many things that they can change. So I suppose that the audience probably needs to know that when it opens, it's not going to be a fortnightly draw, because we've met our residence program probably for the next 3 years. You know, we're
That's
not
right.
going to invite so many people to come in and be invited to apply for residence. We're going to close that gap. And right now, with this green list and the tier 2 of this, we are closing that gap hugely.
Okay. That's an
Yeah.
interesting question. Asking my question is INZ have not even completed the 2021 residency visas. How can they start the new set of visas before completing one?
All right. Let's talk about this. Okay. So they have
Let's do.
announced visa extensions. Okay. So it's interesting because what they've pretty much done is effectively, I think it was from yesterday or the 9th of May. Sorry, it was the 9th of May. They've effectively reduced the amount of work by providing visa extensions. So this is quite important. The people that are onshore will get automatic visa extensions if their visas are expiring between the 9th of May and the 31st of December 2022.
Right.
So the work to residence holders that have visas expiring between this time, they will be granted the 6-month extension.
Right.
Essential skills work visa holders, post-study work visa holders, and partners of work visa holders, and this includes all partners with open work rights and dependent children, will get an automatic extension of 2 years. So what they've effectively
Oh,
done is over the next 7 months, they've decided we'll give automatic extensions and we don't have to deal with them.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
they've already reduced their workload so they can
Put them
then
on ice,
process.
basically.
Well, not put them on ice, but say to them, look, you're going to get free visa extensions, okay, the day after your visa expires, so you don't need to worry about this. Regardless of whether you've got a 2021 residence application lodged or not, you're going to get an extension. All
Yeah.
right. Regardless of whether, yeah, so regardless of anything, you're going to get an extension for 2 years and we don't need to deal with you. So now we can actually process the 2021 residence and then the visitor visas and so on that are actually starting up and so on, as well as student visas, international student visas. So that's pretty much what they've done. Very tactically done.
On that note, do we have enough staff to handle this?
They've employed about 230 new staff who are being trained up. And
Okay.
they have new systems that are coming into place, or like especially with the visitor visas, they've moved on to the new system anyway, and so on. So they are very confident that they will be able to process this. They're
Yeah.
very confident that they will be able to process the new accredited employer work visas because they've said from accreditation, it's going to take 10 days from the application. For the job check, it's going to take 10 working days. To do the job check, and when you apply for the accredited employer work visa from the 4th of July onward, it's going to take 20 working days. So they're very confident about that. So time will tell.
Time will tell. I've got a question for you that I can't read to you. I can't put it on screen. Sorry about
Sure.
that. Frankie Erasmus asking if you are on tier 2, where you get residency after 2 years, but turn 56 during the second year, can you still get residence?
It's interesting because right now the policy says that you need to be granted your work visa by the time you are 55. Okay, this is for work to residence.
Yeah.
So say you turn 56 or 57 by the time you're applying for the 2 years, the residence, it's fine because you've been granted that work visa when you were 55 or younger, right?
You'll just probably
So
have to work to 125 years old until we can get super.
yes. So Frankie, the thing is, right now, that's what it is. And I don't know whether that's going to carry through because all the finer details of this policy hasn't come through. And they may just follow through with that. We don't know, but we can only confirm once all the details come out.
Interesting question, this. I'm an electrician. Will my wife get an open work visa if we apply for a visa before December 22? Will she also be included in the resident visa application?
So the electrician is on the green list tier 2. Okay, so
Okay.
after 2 years, you'd be able, if you're not earning the 200% of median wage, after 2 years, you can apply for residence. Because you're on the green list, your occupation is on the green list, your partner is going to get open work rights. That's what they've said. All right. With regards to being included in the residence application, you should include all family members that are eligible in your residence application. So
All
you'd be
right.
able to do that after 2 years, or if you meet the points when they come up and, or released, then you can probably go that route.
This sounds like it's a bit more simpler system as in the
Uh, it,
past.
it does. Now, the thing is, the other part is the hospitality and tourism sectors, okay? They need people and they can't pay at, median wage. It's quite high. So what they've done is they've introduced a lower threshold for these people. So they've said $25 an hour is what these guys need to get to be able to come in. And this will carry on until April 2023. Now,
Okay.
one important thing is we need to note there are stand down periods. Okay. So when you come in on a work visa under the accredited employer work visa, you'll be granted 3 years if you meet median wage. If you are paid below median wage, you are granted a 2-year work visa. If
Okay.
your employer keeps you on a hourly wage of less than median wage, you will have after 2 years you will have a 12-month stand down period. So you have to leave the country, and then you can come back afterwards. However, if your employer ups your salary, then you could be eligible for a 3-year work visa. So,
All right.
so again, it's a lot on the employer as to whether they want to do this or not. So that's where that role is. Okay. So, do you have a question, Jan?
I've got a question here. It's quite a weird one. So if you don't know the answer, just tell me. It's no
Sure.
problem. If my mother is 56, can she come and visit for 6 months at a time and be granted a working holiday visa?
So, working holiday visas are granted for, well, it's between 30 and 35. It depends on the country you're coming from.
Okay.
Okay. So, we only have certain countries where you get granted working holiday visas. So, the answer is no. She's far too old for a working holiday visa. Sorry, that first part was she was 56. Can she come and visit? Is that correct?
I come and visit for 6 months. Sorry.
So visitor visas and the rules around visitor visas hasn't changed. Okay, so anybody who's coming on a general visitor visa can stay up to 9 months, provided they are able to show that they are going back and meet all the criteria of that.
But
I
she
mean,
can't work.
obviously, no, it doesn't have any work rights on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where can we find the green list?
So the green list is out, and it's on the immigration website. So maybe if you search green list, or it's on my Facebook link, but I am going to put some more
I'll,
details
I'll,
on my
I'll pop a link to that as well. So no problem.
yeah. So I'll answer that and I'll put the link through so you can
Okay.
find that list. Now, Jan, I think for people like, and there are sorry, there are some concessions for certain occupations, like for instance, metal fabricators, fitters, painters, plasterers, and so on. Okay, so immigration have realized that some of these roles are paying below a certain amount, and they've
Yeah.
actually set the threshold or the interim wage threshold at $25 an hour. So people can still come in at $25 an hour, but just remember there's a stand down period. So you can work for 2 years at $25 an hour. And if your employer doesn't increase your wages to what median wage is at that time, that means you have a 12-month stand down period. So there's a bit of uncertainty for those people. Now, I just want to make the statement right now, the residence pathways are for those people on the green list, okay? The tier 1, tier 2s, and those earning 200% of median wage. We are
Okay.
waiting for the SMC to open, because there will be the other pathway for those people, and various other occupations that
Okay.
will be able to come in and get residence, but we're just waiting for the residence or the skilled migrant category to open.
All right. Um, this question, please clarify. If I'm on the green list, my spouse can get open work visa, but if I am not on the green list, your spouse gets visitor's visa. That is right.
Yes,
said
that's
it's
correct.
something to do with the new SMC thing,
Uh,
which we don't know about yet.
so that is correct, unless if you are not on the green list but you're earning 200% of median wage, then your wife will get open work rights. Okay,
So
so
it's the
you
green list and 200%. Those are the two
yes,
pathways
yes,
currently.
correct, yes,
Okay, so the SMC will
yes,
fall in later.
yes,
And we'll just
and
pop you on the screen again to rack your brains about that thing. So,
yeah. And the thing is, SMC though doesn't guarantee that your partner's going to, like, if you're not earning 200% of median wage, then your partner unfortunately will only get a visitor visa. Okay, even though you qualify for residence and so on, you just need to be aware that your partner can either get a work visa in their own right or just remain not working until you get residence, pretty much.
okay. Let me just ask another question. I don't see anybody's asked that yet. If that partner who's now on a visitor visa, if they go and study here in New Zealand, will they study under international fees or will that be local?
International, yeah.
Okay. But
So,
if they have the money to study and they can do this, they can probably get their own
yeah,
visa at the end of the day.
that's correct. So if they study, they can do it as an international student, foreign fee-paying student. Obviously, that's quite a high threshold, or not high threshold. It costs a lot of money, and they've
That's right.
increased the living costs as well to 20,000. It used to be 15,000. Okay. The only thing is, though, Jan, there's a big change to the international student market. They want international students to study occupations in their green list. So if you're not studying occupations in their green list, you're not going to get open work rights to work for 20 hours a week. So that is a biggie, and it has to be degree level as well. So it's a level 7. So they're actually saying to you, it's got to be a 3-year, 4-year, study period that you're looking at. So they're very, very specific about that. So
Quite interesting.
it's going to cut the international student market quite drastically, and all these tertiary institutes are now going to say, well, our drive is to get these people here on this, and push the green list or occupations, that study route, rather than something else. Yeah.
I fully understand that. Uh, Question on the other side is Charlene saying, hubby's visa expired after our visas. As this is his third visa. My visa and the kids' visa expire in December. Would my visa and the kids' visa then be automatically be extended, even though hubby's only expires October 2023?
So usually everything was on the main applicant, like her husband. Okay. Now, again, they haven't provided clarification as to, um, uh, um, they haven't provided clarification that it's separate. And the wife and kids can get the extension no matter what.
Yeah.
So right now, I'm unsure of whether you will be able to get the 2 years, or it is dependent on your husband. Okay, so which is
That
who's
makes
the main
sense.
applicant. Yeah, so we need some clarification on that. So we're sort of waiting for that to be released. Yeah.
There's a question, sorry, for ICT project manager, they're on the green list. Does employer have to prove they failed to recruit within New Zealand before giving a person a job, or is it automatic?
So on the green list, the employers don't need to actually provide a labor market testing, and they don't need to do labor market testing. But just
Okay.
remember, for ICT project managers or ICT managers, that's what it is. The salary is 120,000, so you have to be earning 120,000 or more. If you're earning
Okay.
less than that, sorry, yes, you can come in, but I don't exactly know how that's going to work. You probably need to actually work 2 years then to get residence, rather than getting residence immediately, that fast track route.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another interesting question. What of children, do they automatically get student visas if main applicant is on the green list?
So regardless of whether the main applicant is on the green list or not, if they meet the criteria, of earning above the median wage and so on, your dependent children will be able to get student visas. It's only the partner that it depends on the earnings and so on, whether
Yeah.
they will get open work rights or not.
Okay. Somebody just asking about the green list looking very short. Only 6 jobs listed on an ICT. Is the list likely to change or have more jobs added?
I'm not too sure. It's really a difficult one because we right now have a sector agreement for certain occupations to come in, and I would believe that they may review this over time. And probably this is where the skilled migrant category, when it opens, this is where they would probably say, okay, these ICT jobs can now be chosen from the pool. So they go in that way. Versus
Okay.
the short list that we currently have. It's really hard to say right now.
We'll pop the green list in here. There's a lot of people asking different occupations are they on the list, blah blah blah. So I don't want
Yeah.
us to waste a lot of time
Look,
on that.
look. I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. A hairstylist can come in, provided that they are earning $27.76 an hour or more. Okay, they can come in. Their partner will
That'll
not
be
be
a tier two. Is that right?
sorry.
Will that be a tier two?
No, it's not a tier two. This is
Okay.
completely nothing to do with any of the lists. Okay, so hairstylists can come in provided they're earning the median wage. They can bring their partner and children in. The partner will not be able to get open work rights unless they apply in their own work right, or that hairstylist is earning 200% of median wage. Okay,
Okay.
the children will be able to go to school and get student visas to study, but obviously not tertiary study. So that's an example of what can happen. That hairstylist can also be eligible for residence once the SMC category opens and we know what the criteria is. So right
Okay.
now it's a bit, iffy on that. So we don't know about the rest of the occupations and how that pathway is going to work.
All right. So how will the hairstylists come in if they're not on the green list now? They're earning
So
200%.
so the thing is, the employer is going to advertise. They're going to do a labour market check, okay, or test.
Yeah.
Then they can't find anybody in New Zealand. They're going to request a job check to be done, and the job check actually allows them to employ from overseas. So once that job check is approved, the employer can offer that hairstylist the role. The hairstylist applies for this accredited employer work visa. Okay, if they're not earning 200% of median wage, then they will have to go through the skilled migrant category to get residence. And we're waiting for that to be opened. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. So there's still hope for a lot of jobs
The,
not on the list.
that's right. There is. It's just a matter of when SMC opens to see if they qualify for residence or not. And we don't know.
What about the guys that came in the past as farm workers and fruit pickers? They had the 6 month work visa. Am I right?
Yes, and the thing is, though, if they are not earning, where they should be earning, they're going to have stand-down periods. Their visas are going to start expiring and so on. So, look, they may be eligible for automatic extensions. It depends what type of visa they're on. So maybe they were here for another 2 years, but there's that uncertainty. And it's like, what do they do, or what does the employer do to give them certainty that they can stay here permanently, or they will have to leave at some stage?
All right. Here's a question I just thought out now. So your hairstylist pops in on the accredited employers list or
Yeah,
visa.
yeah.
Her partner cannot get a visa in his own right. Can he get the 6 month visa to go and do kiwi fruit picking and still stay there after?
Um, I'm not too sure, Jan, because the thing is, we
Yeah,
made exceptions. We made
yeah,
exceptions where, because the borders were closed, we needed all these people, and
yeah.
we were only using people on shore. Now that was only a temporary fix that immigration had. Now I don't know whether they would be able to do that. It's hard to say until we know. Once if all the details come up, then we will know. Right, this is what you can do. This is what you can't do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Luckily, they brought out some of the rules with this announcement now, but most of the time they just bring out a rule and you don't know what it's all about. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
When,
look, there's pathways for nurses. There's a lot of pathways, but to be honest, it's a lot of the academics and the highly skilled that have direct pathways. The
okay,
tier two is your trades, and just the ones that will never earn the 116, and that they can't really earn that,
that's right.
unless if they're doing something drastically different. Yeah, so that's where that is.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. Is there any other news? We have gone
Uh,
over our time a bit, but it's all right.
No, there are sector agreements that will be coming out later on this year, and those sector agreements are like, discuss certain occupations like your meat processing, which we've already got for, your fruit pickers, and there's various other sectors, even your construction and so on. So those things are going to be coming out later on this year. There'll be obviously more details on this. So the thing is to the audience out there is that if you are not on the green list, okay, you need to think carefully about certain things. As an advisor, we can't tell you what that pathway to residence is going to be right now because it's not been announced and it's still under review and so on. So you probably need to look at, you probably need to assess, should I wait until I know for certain I'm going to be able to stay somewhere permanently, or should I take the chance? And then, if you take the chance, then what happens if
Yeah.
you can't get residence? You've got to think about all those things, and you probably need to discuss that amongst yourselves as a family unit, and then go from there.
Yeah. And I mean, the ultimate goal is to get residence because that leads to citizenship at the end of the day. And
That's right.
without residence, you have to go home at a certain time
Yeah. And I mean,
or
with
back
most
where you came from. Sorry.
Exactly. And look, with most South Africans, they want that residence, okay? They want the citizenship at the
Yeah.
end of the day, okay? If you are happy to work for, for a certain amount of time and then return, then that's okay. You can do that. But if you're not, then maybe, and your occupation is not on the green list, so maybe just wait until SMC comes up. Then you know what are your chances. Really, what are your chances? Of getting residents.
My
Um,
thoughts are just if you're only doing it this for the money and not for residence, I would suggest, except if you're in a very high paying position, that New Zealand's probably not the right country for you. And I'm
yeah,
not giving immigration advice, but I'm thinking purely financial. If you are coming here to get that specific job, it's probably better to go and sit somewhere in Dubai or Qatar or one of these places where you get more money and then have to go home and to come down here and earn less than you would have been that side and then
absolutely.
have to go home. So,
Absolutely, it makes sense to do that. And the thing is, with our cost of living being so high as well, I suppose those people where their partners cannot get an open work visa, open work rights, they need to consider, okay, how are we going to survive? All those things, they need to consider those things. I mean, it is a major, the cabinet papers last year said that they weren't going to, provide open work rights and so on. And it's now very clear that they're only going to do it for certain people, yeah.
correct.
So those things are important to people, and I think it's important to go away and assess how you're going to approach your immigration journey.
Oh yeah. And you got to weigh up a lot of things in this point. One is money, and let's be quite honest. New Zealand has become an expensive place, so you need to earn a good salary here to be able to live down here.
Yeah,
So if it's only for money, don't come. If it's for safety and security and a long-term residence, and you can go that way, do it. So, Anita,
yeah.
any other words of wisdom? I don't see
Um,
any more questions really. So,
Nothing. I think people need to digest what's been said and what's been released as well. And then I'll put the links up there so they can actually have a read through everything. As I said, it's all at high level until it
yeah,
comes down to more finer details, and then go from there pretty much. So yeah.
let's take this as a last question. It's good. It's a good one. What are the requirements for the green list visa applications? Is it police clearance, medicals, etc.? Have the application costs changed?
Okay, so just to let you know, or I should make the statement, all employers, no matter who they are, need to be accredited. Okay, so a lot of onus is going on the employer now. So occupations on the green list will be advertised by an accredited employer who will have the right to obviously employ a migrant worker. They don't need to do a labor market test. What was the other bits of that question?
Sorry. Asking
Uh,
just would they need police clearance, medicals, etc.?
Yes, as an applicant, when you do the migrant check, that's a third phase of the visa and the whole process. Yes, you will still have to do police clearance, medicals, and pass all of that as well.
Yeah.
None of that have changed at all.
Has the application cost, are that known yet?
Yes, the application cost or the visa cost to immigration for the work visa itself is $495.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that hasn't changed.
All right, Vanita. I just want to thank you from my side. I want to say thank you. You've always been this wonderful, yeah, can I say, inspiration to each of us, and you've got so much information that you always are willing to share with us. So thank you for that, and thank you for answering all these questions this morning, sir.
No, Jan, I appreciate it, and thank you for giving me the forum and the audience to be able to do that. So I appreciate that as well. But my last word to the audience is: please go and seek some advice. If you're working with an advisor, please make sure that you seek that advice. If you're not, then call immigration,
Yeah.
to get clarification, or read the immigration website. That's my last words.
And Vanita is an advisor like that, and she is allowed to give you advice, and she can do, and she's got wonderful references. There's guys that absolutely shout your name from the rooftops, to be quite frank. So if you want to know more about Vanita, just type in A2NZ Immigration and on Facebook, and you'll find her there. So that's from me, Vanita. Once again, thank you, and I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. All right, guys and girls, thanks a lot.